Hello, I'm Robin Vincent and welcome back to the Deckard's Dream build. I'm not going to say a whole lot this time. He always says that, and that's never actually the case. I'm just going to get on with the voice cards because they need a lot of soldering, a lot of resistors, and I've just got to get into it. So I've grabbed a few moments, hopefully a couple of hours today, to continue this journey. You see, I got one done. What I did in my last video was all the surface mount, all the stuff on the back, and I haven't had the opportunity to do any synths, and that was a little time ago. So I'm going to get stuck in to these voice cards. The plan is to production line it a little bit, so I've got all 7 cards here I still need to complete, and I'm going to stick resistors in all 7, then solder all 7. Just going to go through the list, just get stuck in, do a bunch, solder, do a bunch. That's all you can do really at this stage. And then hopefully we'll get to the point where we can start that horror of trying to pull the thing together into an actual synthesizer. So that's enough from me. I'm going to just time lapse it with a little GoPro here and throw some music over the back. Ideally, so that I won't have to keep setting up the cameras and everything else. I'm just going to simply go through these here because I think we know what we're doing now. I don't think there's anything new, any surprises that are going to come up in doing that. The surface mount was really good to capture on film, and I did that. The rest of this is just going to be as it appears until we get to the point where we start putting chips in. Then I think that's worth another video all by itself as we start to bring the whole project together to its glorious conclusion of smoke and sparks and noises. So that's good. So I will see you on the other end and enjoy this gradual unfolding of the voice cards being soldered. Right then, I'm very nearly at the end of the resistors. I have one pack of resistors left. It's quite a big pack, 128 of them still to do, and the last lot of resistors on all these voice cards. I thought that I would do one in real time, do one batch in real time, just to give you a sense of how long this takes, but also to prattle on and to muse about what I've learned, what worked for me, how it's going, and to give you some tips and really good advice on how to tackle these voice cards. Because I think there's probably different ways of doing it, and this is just what I've found. So I'm not going to waste too much time. I'm just going to start putting these in, and I'll just talk, and we'll have a look at the soldering, and we'll go through it together. If it goes on too long, I'll cut it down, but otherwise we'll just let it run. We'll let it run and see what happens. Because I figured if I waited till I'd finished all this and then tried to say something about it, I just wouldn't remember. But doing it live in front of a... can't get them out. Doing it live in front of a camera, I think would perhaps prompt me into saying something more useful. Good Lord, look at all these flipping things. Oh, it is a thing. It's lots and lots of resistors. But it's funny, I've got through them. I have. In this sort of past week, really. I've really churned my way through. Now, it takes a really long time. A really long time. I'm not kidding about how much time it takes. It doesn't look that much on the paper. And when you make other projects, you think, oh yeah, you know, a couple of hours will be fine. But this is a couple of hours times 8. There's 8 of them every time. You're doing a whole load of them. So there's 8 times more than you even think there could be. So it is hours and hours and hours. Now, I would absolutely and thoroughly, heartily recommend doing them together. Don't build one at a time. And I built this one all by itself a fair while ago now. And that was good. That was useful. It gave me an idea of how it all came together, that I had all the right bits, all the components were correct. So that was fine. That was a good exercise. But for the remaining 7, I'm doing them all together. And there are many reasons for that. So let me just get started on what I'm doing. So what I do, I'm doing the 499Rs, 128, 16 per board. I'm going to do 8 at a time. Because if you try to do too many at once, you lose the effect of the repetition. By that I mean, when you're placing these on the board, trying to find the place where they go is half the time you're wasting trying to find where it goes on the board. But when you do a number of boards in a row, you put resistors on, then they're going in the same place on the next board. And if you do that immediately, you'll start to remember where they are, and it all becomes much quicker. Quickness is good. So what I'm going to do 8 on each board, and then I'll do the other 8. Yeah, makes sense? Good. So what I do, I know people have tools for bending resistor legs, but I've developed a little system here. I grab hold of 4, I pull them off. You can do it with more or with less. And then I hold them in my fingers and I bend all against that. Then I flatten them out into a little strip and I bend down the other side. And that's pretty much all you need. 'Tis done. That's 4. I'm going to take off another 4. Bend them like that, put it flat, bend them again. And that's 8 resistors ready to go on. So I'm going to do 8 at a time into a single board. very simply just trying to keep track of where I am. So 49 and 50. Now the great thing is, as this is the last pack, all I've got to do is fill up the holes, any remaining resistors that I find on here will be what it is. But I'm also going to go through the numbers because I need to make sure that everything is right. It's possible that I've got a resistor number wrong, I've soldered something in the wrong place, so I still need to check every single resistor is in the right place as I go. So 49 and 50. These, completely invaluable. I couldn't do it without them, I don't think. My eyes would just explode. So these, my dad found these in his shed. They were probably from the 50s or something. Oh, I don't know. But I'm sure these are generally available, some kind of lupe thing. They are awesome, but I honestly can't work without them. So I have to do it. And that's why, I have to look a bit weirdly at it, but that's okay. That's okay, not doing my shoulders any good, but who cares? I'm actually on the home straight, so I'm feeling good about it at the moment. So 49 and 50. 49 is over here. So it goes in almost beautifully, and I just give it a tug from the underneath and bend the legs out a little bit. 50 down the bottom here. Easy to find now. Easy to find. Now I've followed a pattern with all of these resistors, and that's to put the brown ring, or the tolerance ring I suppose, out to either the right or up in order to have them all in the same orientation, or at least I think so, because I think that looks nice, potentially. 55, 64, 55 and 64, 55. 64. $65, $68. Up here. Now the numbers are relatively close together. You tend to get below 100 at the bottom half of the board and above 100 the other side, but it ain't necessarily so. They do skip around a little bit. So tracking them down, it's just a matter of scanning the board again and again. 143, 144, so that should be in the top half of the board. Up here. So that's my first 8 resistors. I'm going to place that there. I'm then going to get another 8 resistors. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bend them, flatten them, bend them. Another 8 for the next board, because I will remember where they went. Kinda. 49, 50. Although I say you probably won't save too much time till you're on to the last couple of boards. But any time saved is a beautiful thing in this game. Beautiful thing. So, what have you been up to since last time I saw you? I mean, this little flurry of activity is sort of spurred on by the fact I've been playing a lot with the Deckard's voice lately. You might have seen a video on that. 49.50. And that has really inspired me to get on with this thing. Plus, I do have a whole load of DIY projects that have been backing up that I'd really like to get into. Things like the Bafako Lich, which is a strange DSP based or somehow multifunctional based module from Bafako, and Rebel Tech. If you know Rebel Technologies, they did this strange owl thing, which always looked interesting, but I just couldn't quite wrap my head around it. And Bafako have kind of taken it on and have developed their own module based upon it, called the Lich or Lik or something. I think it's Spanish for witch, which is odd, but there we go. I hope I'm putting these in the right places. 143, yeah, 144, yes I am. So anyway, so I want to get stuck into those very soon, and this is just getting in the way. Now I'm not saying that I'm going to get this finished very, very quickly, but getting these resistors done really does take a chunk out of the build time. And so it means I can clear a box away, get some stuff out of the way, make myself a bit more room, get on with other things. It's no bad thing at this stage. It's interesting, there seems to be a lot more people who have taken on this adventure recently. I mean, I imagine it's a pandemic thing, it's an isolation thing. Being locked at home has prompted people to take on a cool project like the Deckard's Dream. I'm seeing a lot of activity in the builders Facebook group of other people who have given it a go or have hit a snag or are asking about the end game, which is the thing that's going to be interesting very soon for me, because there's a very real problem, is that the right word? I don't know, very real situation which will be upon me soon, which is that I have no idea how this all goes together. I mean, I have all these boards, I have all these bits that I've made, but I've been making them over like nearly 2 years. How do they go together? How does it all fit together? I think there's wires I've got to put together, there's the power supply I've got to worry about, and then there's testing. Do I just put the whole thing together and turn it on, or do I try one thing at a time? These are the questions that are starting to weigh on my mind. And so these are also the questions that the people are asking. So hopefully there's going to be a lot of good information in the Facebook group about how to finish, how to get it from a whole bunch of PCBs into an actual functioning synthesizer. I mean, there's the programming of the processor. I don't have any clue how to do that. I don't think I have the programmer yet. I think that's something I have yet to order. So that's a factor. And there's lots of talk of using multimeters to test power rails. I wonder how you do that. When they talk about power rails, what are they talking about? I mean, I've got a ground here. Then what else? I mean, I'm going to have to assume that one of these gold bits here is something to do with power. Oh, you could write a book about the things I don't know. Can't quite believe how cavalier I'm being about this now. So I hope that my little videos have been helpful to these people coming in and coming through. I'm only sorry really that I didn't finish this all a year ago, when it would have been more useful to a lot more people watching me get to the end where all those tricky bits are. But the other thing that gives me hope is just the very fact that people do get to the end. People get there and they turn it on, and at some point it works. And they get over whatever humps it is that makes the end difficult. Ooh, I don't like the way these are scrapping against each other particularly. I'm sure you're not supposed to stack PCBs like this, but that's just what I've become accustomed to. I'm going with it. I think it's too late to change these sorts of habits now. I'm nearly there with this halfway through lark. It's 8 resistors. But certainly, having played with the Deckard's voice, I absolutely do have a deep appreciation now of the sort of sound we could be getting as a polysynth. I've also been thinking about effects, because it doesn't come with any, and playing with the Deckard's voice, it really loved going through magneto and going through some reverb, things like that. Now I think there's some effects available in the expander which you can get for the Deckard's Dream. Certainly some ring modulation, I've heard about that. I just haven't been paying enough attention really. But some reverb and delay would be really nice. And I was thinking that maybe if I was feeling really brave, I could repurpose some guitar pedals into a little 1 or 2U rack unit. I mean, only meaning that I don't want to have to buy yet more stuff. I would like to use things I'm not using. So I've got some guitar pedals, some old, not old even, some cheap and cheerful TC Electronic guitar pedals that aren't doing anything because I don't use them. I mean, I bought them with the idea of using them with the Eurorack, which I have done, but I tend to use Eurorack modules for effects. So, and it ends up just being a bit of a faff setting up these guitar pedals, and they take up a load of space, and you've got more cables knocking around. So they're kind of just sitting around not doing anything. So maybe I can just pull them apart, put them inside some kind of front panel or some kind of case that I could come up with, right? Because I'm a genius, me, and sort of wire them into it. Just make it work. Why can't it work? Because I'm starting to learn that electronics is whatever you want it to be. But sure, there's rules in that involved, but it's all just current and voltage, and you just jam stuff together. Make it work for you. So that seemed to me like an interesting little project. And then I could create it so that it would be in a rack alongside the Deckard's Dream and be a little suite of effects directly for it. I've got a spring reverb, a chorus and a delay. What more do you need? Just need a couple of ins and outs. Patch it together. Couple of knobs. And that then raises a question in my head as to, could you make it CV controllable? I mean, what are the knobs actually doing within the unit? Is it voltage it's moving about the place? Are they that analog, or is it some kind of MIDI control over a digital thing? I don't know, I have to look into it. And if so, could you expose a modulation port? Could you expose control over the controls of the pedals? Do you see what I'm saying? Could you do that? Is that possible? I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. Right, so the soldering side of things. Here we go. I've got a fan on to blow away the solder. Got my soldering iron nice and hot. And I'll just get to it again. I need my magnifying glasses, which also protect my eyes a little bit. And you just get stuck into it. I saw this guy talking about you need to check all your soldering with a magnifying glass. God, geez, there's just so much of it. I mean, am I really going to spot stuff? Well, I mean, I say that, but I have on other projects certainly spotted dry joints or dodgy joints, and I've resoldered and resoldered. And all that means is that you heat it up again and you throw more solder at it. Keep throwing more solder at it until it looks like it's in the hole. But, you know, the back of these PCBs, they're a bit of a mess, to say the least. Cool, so that's the first one done. Then what I do is I take the legs off. That's good. I've had no end of trouble with that bloody cockerel. 2 cockerels, there's 2 of them. Well, that, and there's some further away in the village that they have like conversations with, particularly in the mornings. I mean, it's not at daybreak or anything sensible like that. Oh God, no. No, it's all morning they go at it. I'm just having to sort of just go with it. There's nothing I could do about it. I can't soundproof my shed to that degree. I can't just kill the bloody things. Just have to go with it. So people have asked whether I'm going to do the big switch on in a live stream when I get to the end of this. Not so sure about the wisdom of that. Because I don't think it's very interesting watching a grown man cry. No, I don't mean that. I mean watching me troubleshoot something where I don't even have any clue where to start. So that seems like a bad idea to me. I think, I mean, certainly, I mean, after this, I mean, this is just the resistors on these boards. I've still got the diodes and the capacitors and the IC holders and stuff to do. So this is just a video on the resistors. There's still a fair way to go, but I don't imagine I'm going to do a separate one on any of the others. I'll just do the rest of the board, I think, as a single video together. And then we'll get to a point where we're putting in the ICs, and I think I'll probably do a video on that by itself, because I think that will be interesting, or an interesting way of seeing how it's all come together. Then I imagine I'll do a video on getting everything together and talking about what I don't know. What I don't know how to do, or what I don't have, and seeing if I can tackle those issues. And then I'm going to have to test it out by myself, because I think there's a lot of sort of thought and bits and pieces to do. You know, testing power to the motherboard, testing a single card, you know, because I may find that some of these work, some of them don't. Maybe things I'm going to have to look into. Don't know yet. I don't have a feel for that at all. So at the moment this is just a whole bunch of resistors. alarmingly, I have one resistor left. How many did I put in? Wow, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I missed one. Damn it, which did I miss? 149, I think. 149 is there. Okay. Now I'm just going to check the board for any other resistors, because hopefully there should be none. Ow, it's in danger of... yeah. These are all capacitors. Diodes and capacitors. Yeah, no, I think that's it. I think this is flipping it. I think we're there. That's amazing. Alright, let's not go ahead of ourselves. Right, 149 is the starting point. But as I say, I have to go through the numbers on every board because I might have made a mistake at any point. So I can't assume that I can just stick these in, the ones that are left, to make sure the numbers are correct. Because there are some potentially dodgy places between 8s and 6s that can look very similar on the screen print, and I think that fooled me when I did the other voice card. I did have to undo a lot of stuff, which is a shame. I seem to have lost it. Oh, 144. Oh, I already did that one then. I must have done. Okay, so there's a 144. Now that's interesting. I shouldn't have a 144. I should have a 149. Okay, so potential problem here. Got a 144, which should be right. But let's have a look. Where is that one? There. Yeah, it's the right one on there. 149 is that one. No. I did it with that one as well. That's 149. So it seems that I have, because I'm not really paying full attention, I've missed out 144 on some of these boards and put in 149 instead. Does it matter? No, because they're still the same, so it's not a major disaster. I just have to be careful. And here I am running on, talking when I should be focusing. But I just feel like I'm at the end. I need to unload, unwind. But of course I'm not at the end. This is just the resistors. Just the resistors. Now if I get this done in time and this video out in time, like tomorrow, then this Saturday I've been invited along to the Southern California Synth Society Synth Summit thing on Saturday to join in with their DIY Soldering and Friends thing, which is just awesome. I'm so chuffed to be invited to something like that. It's just brilliant. It's so exciting. So I get to hang out with a bunch of cool Californians, possibly. Do a bit of soldering, talk about it, have a chat. Just for an hour. Saturday night, 8 o'clock. And the coolest thing is that the Synth DIY guy is going to be there. You know, the guy who does the soldering properly. Not like me, just mucking about, messing around. He does make some beautiful videos. And then he tends to make beautiful sound with the things he's just made. You know, it's the whole package. Someone who knows what he's doing, builds things really well, explains things really well, and then makes noises with it really well. You know, wow. There's a thing I do really well. Is put across the impression that anyone can do this. Because it must be that anyone can do this if this fool is doing it. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. Although I don't know how much longer I can carry on with the whole enthusiastic novice bit. Because I've been doing it for too long. At some point someone's going to point out the fact that I should know what I'm doing by now. I don't really know how to respond to that exactly. Oh, another blunder. That's 143. Is that still in the same pack? Yeah. So I put one in 158. Cool, I really wasn't concentrating, was I? When it should have been in 143. Still, that's now done, and that's fine. Nobody's worried. It's all good. It's all still coming together, I think. What was I saying? Yeah. Can I still give the impression of enthusiastic amateur? That is the question. Well, I think I'm wide-eyed enough to get away with it. Because I haven't learnt a thing. So that's this Saturday night, 8 o'clock. I imagine. So one of the reasons I'm sort of doing this now is because I'd like to get these resistors finished before then. So I can then, as we're doing this chat, this live thing, I will try to do some soldering on these cards, but to do something like the diodes. You know, something I really can't get wrong. Of course you can get them wrong. But I kind of feel I'd like to get to the stage where all of these are done, so that on Saturday I don't have a thing to finish. I'm not trying to finish something. I can just solder a few diodes, talk about it, take lots of really good advice from people who know what they're doing, and just see how that goes. So yeah, I'm well chuffed, looking forward to doing that. And that's 8 o'clock, 22nd of May, I think it is. Just in case you might have missed that already. 8 o'clock UK time, so it's 12 o'clock over in California. And it's just one part of a larger weekend of synthesizer things run by the Southern Californian Synth Society and the Colorado one as well, I believe. I think they're acting together. SynthCube tend to leave you with one or two extras occasionally, which is very, very useful and much appreciated. Because at any moment, one of these could twang and disappear onto the other side of the room. Alright, this one's right. Look, 149. See how I've matured with my leg clipping. I used to just twang them and let them go wherever the heck they liked. Back in the days when I was carefree, full of risk, and you know, whatevers. I'm a bit more careful with it now. Don't like the idea quite so much of these legs disappearing inside my Euro rack, shorting something out. And also, I tend to get them stuck in my feet because these legs end up on the floor and I'm walking around in my socks as I like to. And a leg in your foot is just not a happy thing, you know. The other thing I'm still really keen to do, which I got started on back in my modular week that I did last year, modular DIY week that I did, and that's to build the Cosmo synth. I still have all those kits. I now, I believe, have all the right components as well. So that's another thing that I want to sit down and really hash out at some point, because that was really interesting, having Sam Battle on and giving it a bit of a go, because there is an opportunity for me to learn what I'm doing, because I'm having to interpret a lot more. Having to buy the components separately was a major thing. That was a next level. So that's going to be my plan once I've got through these. I've got a few Bafako kits to do, all of them Rebel Tech related, I believe. So once I've done those, I'll get stuck into the Cosmo. If you don't know what that is, it's Sam Battle's synthesizer, based on designs he's taken from all over the place. But his Cosmo format is what he calls a metric 5U. So it's just a larger version of Eurorack to make it easier to use in live performance, and I love that idea. I also really like his front panels, you know, the style of all that, just having modular with big knobs on it that's not stupidly expensive Moog or proper 5U stuff. And I've also been thinking, because of the size of the front panels, there's a lot of sort of spare real estate, of actually building in a few mods. I mean, listen to me, mods! Not only am I building an effects unit, I'm now modding Euroracks or Cosmo modules. That's just crazy. But I think it'll be fun. I've got this storming idea, right, that I want to try out on it. Oh, see, I've lost it now. I'm just twinging these like an idiot. Just like after I said, like, I'm not going to do this anymore, I've grown up. And here I am. Oh, I missed those ones. Just twanging them any old way. I get the feeling that I can feel the end is approaching, or at least of this particular session. So I start getting all cavalier. That's exactly when you accidentally put the soldering iron through your eye. Oh, for heaven's sake, come on. Might actually get this done. How long has this been going on? How long? Oh, nearly an hour. Nearly an hour. Well, I don't know if I'll subject you to all of it. I might have to skip a few bits, otherwise it's just going to be too long, isn't it? I don't know. I mean, how long is the time lapse going to be? Probably not that long. Keep leaving the GoPro on overnight. And I would love to say that exciting things happened, but no, they didn't. It's just dark for a very long time. For gigabytes worth of darkness on the SD card. Yeah. question you have to ask yourself at this point, is it possible for me to Instagram the last resistor soldering using Instagram video? So I'm going to do it on that one, but you leave that one. Is it possible to do it with no hands? Okay, got one to do. So ideally what I want to do is I'm so savvy with these things, so I've got to be able to hold the button and solder and talk all at the same time. Is that likely? Now can I position this right to get that there? I'm not actually looking at it, so it needs to go like that. Go down a little bit. Where's the end of it? I'm still not looking at it. I've got to be able to touch that with my thumb. This is got to... Can I see that on there? This is great telly. I've got to be able to get that to there. Shall I give it a go? Let's give it a go. Right, ready? This is the last resistor going in to the last of the 8 boards on the Deckard's Dream. Cannot see what I'm doing. So I'm trying to hold this phone and get that in there. Is that even in? What am I doing? Trying to get... Come on. You can do it. There we go. A little bit more. There. I think I did it. I think I got away with it. I think I did. So that is board number 8. All the resistors done. It's about 200 resistors per board, I think. Flipping awesome! So yeah, join us Saturday night when I'm going to, I don't know, do some diodes, I suspect. That seems to be what I've got left in my voice PCB box. Diodes, whole load of flipping diodes to do. Any tricky thing with that is getting around the right way. I've got BAT 85s, 1N4148s and 1N5221Bs. Fascinating. So there you are. I hope that was helpful. My tips and tricks on doing all those resistors. I'm quite giddy by the fact that I've completed them all. Tick! Cross, tick, cross. I don't know what your system is of checking these things off, but mine's been slapdash at best. So if I come back to the other page, what do I have left to do? So I did all the surface mount capacitors. I've got a whole load of capacitors, another whole load of capacitors, diodes, and then some transistors. I wonder where that is. I wonder where they are. Where are the transistors? Oh, I've got another box. Okay, all the capacitors are in there. Alright. So look, that's the end of my voice PCB box, just those diodes in. What I forget is that all the other stuff is in this one. These are all them. All of the chip holders, all of the capacitors. I am not done by a long chalk. Good flipping lord. Well, that's a great way to depress myself. Anyway, there we go. That's resistors. I hope that was fun. Moving on to something else. I'm going to put this to one side after I've had a bit of a go with the diodes. I'm going to finish the diodes off, I think, and then then that'll probably do me on that for a little bit, and I'll put those aside and get on with some other kits that I've got to do. And I'll get back to this as soon as I can. I promise. I do promise. And in the meantime, go make some tunes.